And on the art of getting people to like you. And it's as relevant and classic today as it was when it was written in 1937. But before I get into that, I want to get into how to understand people and how to understand yourself in social interactions, okay? And this is very important if you want to be able to influence people and win friends and use the techniques from the books. You have to understand what's going on behind the social interaction and what's actually going on beneath the surface, okay? So the way that you understand people is four things. Everyone acts in their own self-interest at all times, despite what they may say. It's in everyone's self-interest to feel pleasure at all times and avoid pain at all times. Everyone wants to feel the highest pleasure, which is like a loving state of ecstatic bliss, if that's possible. And everyone wants to avoid pain at all times, okay? So the thing is, life is painful. As the Buddha says, existence is suffering, with enlightenment being the ultimate pleasure or permanent bliss, or what the Hindus call Satchitananda. In devotional religions, this is communion with God. And it's the permanent removal of pain. It's what everyone's chasing, that pure bliss state and that permanent removal of pain. Whether you believe that's possible or not, doesn't negate the fact that everyone would love to be in ecstasy and bliss all the time and never have any pain or suffering, okay? And anyone who says otherwise is completely unaware of what motivates themselves and what motivates other people, okay? If everyone could take a pill that had you feeling ecstatic bliss 24/7, crime, pain, suffering, hurting others, every negative thing about human experience would be gone in an instant, all right, with that pill. And people would be walking down the street, hugging each other in ecstasy, and we would all work together, and, there would be no indentured servitude, there would be no, any of those negative human things that we have. There'd be no need for money or private property, because everyone would be in bliss all the time and would be happy to share with each other. Unfortunately, we don't have that pill. We have the world that we have, and it's a world where most people don't understand what I just said. They don't understand themselves, and they definitely don't understand other people, okay? To understand yourself and understand other people, and I know that I harp on you guys on this a lot in a lot of videos, is that you're either going towards pleasure or avoiding pain. And the majority of your day is spent sleeping, working, grooming, eating. All of those basic human actions are just to avoid the pain of not grooming or never sleeping or not working or not eating. Like the bulk of your day is just spent avoiding pain, okay? The rest of your day is spent trying to chase pleasure, whether it's reading or having sex or eating ice cream or going out with your friends or drinking alcohol or seeing your loved ones or listening to music. The free time you have outside of avoiding pain is going towards chasing pleasure, okay? So let me state that again. Everyone acts in their interest at all times, and that's to feel as much pleasure as possible and avoid as much pain as possible. And I'm not talking about the Ayn Rand rational self-interest or whatever bullshit she was on, which assumes it's a choice, okay? I'm saying it's not self-interest. You are selfish, and it's not a choice. This is a fact. This is not, I'm teaching you to choose to be selfish. I'm saying everyone is selfish no matter what. You can't not be selfish unless you're unconscious or you're dead. You're either chasing pleasure, avoiding pain, even if you're doing something nice for someone, right? There's still a payoff in that it makes you happy to do, okay? And you don't have a choice. This is in your biology. Every cell in your biology, in your body, is designed over billions of years of evolution and to survive and replicate, all right? Number one, purpose, survive. Number two, purpose, replicate, okay? And you're rewarded with pleasure for all the actions that accomplish this goal, right? So eating, sleeping, grooming, shelter, survival levels down, and then replication, which is, dressing well, meeting women, having sex, all those things make you feel good. A lot of the reason we chase money is replication, okay? So this is, you really are a selfish organism, whether you want to believe it or not, okay? And you might be thinking, well, what about all those people who deliberately cause themselves pain? All right, the problem is that they don't not that they don't want to be happy, it's that their wants aren't aligned with their happiness. Okay, so the heroin junkie lives in hell and he doesn't see any consistent happiness in the future, and he chases the one thing that can give him pleasure, that heroin, despite the fact that it puts him on the streets and is keeping him there. And despite the fact that it ruined his life, he's still chasing that pleasure because then it becomes the only thing that he has. Okay, so this is just a person who has badly aligned his wants with his need, with his happiness. So he wants heroin, but the heroin doesn't actually make him happy. It destroys his happiness. It gives him a short-term pleasure, but it destroys the rest of his life. Okay? Compare that to the happy, well-adjusted person with loving relationships and rewarding work who is smart about their happiness. That's really the only difference between the heroin addict and the happy, well-adjusted person. Is the heroin addict is really dumb at making himself consistently happy, whereas the happy, well-adjusted person is just good at it. With that said, even though the happy person might spend a lot of their life helping other people, they're just as selfish as the heroin addict. They just get high off of a different thing. They get high off of helping people, but they're still getting a payoff in terms of self-respect, in terms of feeling like a good person, in terms of making someone else happy. You know, there is no way around that. Okay, even when you do things for other people to make them happy, it's because it makes you happy. And I can't express that truth to you enough. I know I've said it in a lot of other videos, but I wanted to recap that for you because it's so important to understand when you're talking about any type of social interaction or sales or anything like that. You have to understand that everyone's coming from the point of self-interest. And if you have the idea of, oh, people are superficial or people are selfish or people this and that, and anyone who has those types of thoughts or says those things does not understand reality at all. Okay, you really, really have to drill this into your head that everyone acts in their self-interest all the time. They can't not act any differently. Okay, you cannot not chase pleasure, and you cannot not try and avoid pain. All right, so this is what we know. Everyone acts in their own self-interest at all times, and everyone wants to feel good at all times. So the logical conclusion is, if you want to win friends and influence people, you add value, which is giving in to their self-interest, and you make them feel good. That's simple. Add value, make them feel good. And the more people you add value to and the more people you make feel good, the more friends you get, the more clients you get, the more people you get to do what you want, the more women you have in your life, the more everything, okay? And so in turn, by adding value, making people feel good, they want to add value back to you and make you feel good. So you create this positive feedback loop, which also creates a better reality for yourself and for the people around you. Sounds like a nice way to live, right? The question is, why do most people not do that? Why are most social interactions strained? Why is there so much tension? Why is there so much conflict in the world? Okay, 4 reasons that I've devised. There's 4 main reasons why people don't act that way. The first one is lack of awareness. Okay, so they either don't have the self-awareness or the social awareness, or it's a combination of both. You'll see this in a lot of autistic or Asperger's people. They just can't understand social cues. But you also see this in a large part of the general population. If you're autistic or you have Asperger's, they at least have an excuse in my book if they have some type of developmental problem. But with regular people, the lack of awareness just comes from a lack of focus. And the lack of focus comes from not having social skills, and really it's because they don't have it as a priority, right? If you don't have winning friends and influencing people as a priority, then you're not going to focus on the social skills and social interactions and the social cues because you don't care about it enough, right? You don't care about it enough to actually make it a priority, and therefore you walk around in a lack of awareness and you make social mistakes all the time. I see this all the time.